You're listening to Quick Save Radio.
Hello and welcome to a special bonus stage of Quick Save Radio. This episode consists of our discussion of Shadow of the Colossus, which I've managed to salvage from a recording session we did over a month ago now, but unfortunately got corrupted. As for mainline episodes of the show going forward, we aren't going to be attempting to stick to any sort of schedule. Turns out that you actually have to commit time to your third year of uni, and throwing jobs into the mix makes synced up schedules something of a myth. So we'll be uploading as and when I and Owen both have time in the future. Thanks for sticking with us, and enjoy our discussion of Shadow of the Colossus. Alright, the next game that I've been playing is a classic that you told me to play, because I finished Detroit and was depressed as fuck, and I said I was going to go on to Horizon Until Dawn. Sorry, is that what it's called? Horizon...
Zero Dawn.
Called? Zero Dawn, sorry, I've played Until Dawn this week as well, which is why I'm confused.
Horizon Until Dawn just sounds like Cash's new album.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And then you told me to play Shadow of the Colossus because it was a classic that, it's on my list. I got it. I bought
you
it.
Owned it. You owned it.
I own it. Yeah.
And it was fresh.
I own it because
I wanted you to play it because it was fresh. You could have played Horizon Zero Dawn. We could have talked about that, but you've played it already. You've seen a lot of gameplay of it. You know what kind of game it generally is. That doesn't mean we couldn't have had a good discussion about it. I just thought it would be a better idea to play a remake of a game you already own and you're completely unspoiled on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I said completely unspoiled. I'll introduce it. This week, I have played Shadow of the Colossus. So yeah, I'm not going into this completely blind. Shadow of the Colossus is one of those games. It very much like Breath of the Wild, and I'll talk about Breath of the Wild in this segment. So fucking buckle up. In that it spawned 1,000,001 video essays on YouTube, and so I have watched a couple of them before that, and I knew the gist of the story was about are we the baddies and sort of like morality and all that sort of stuff. So I wasn't completely blind, but for the vast majority of I didn't know. I only knew what one of the colossi looked like. So in terms of that, and in terms of the gameplay, I was fairly blind as well. Same thing as Breath of the Wild. I broke out my lovely moleskin notebook and did a bit of a running commentary going through. So I don't know if do you want me to just run through my notes as I experienced them?
I want it unedited.
Unedited. Okay, so right. September 2nd, 2019, Shadow of the Colossus. Not going in totally blind, I think I know the story deals with protagonist molarity questions. Molarity? I can't read my own writing, man. Okay, basic story. Playing as young guy on a horse, Link but not.
Yep.
That's what I christened him. Link wants to resurrect a dead girl, unsure of relationship. Ethereal voice orders Link to destroy all colossi in order to resurrect a dead girl. On the way to the first colossi, damn, the remaster is very pretty. The original really must have been incredible for its time. I love the desolate world. It really reminds me of a grim Breath of the Wild. That's what I said to you, is that if Breath of the Wild had the art style of Twilight Princess, there would have been fucking copyright strikes going on, because it's that, basically, as far as I can tell. Where am I to? I love the sword direction mechanic. Unsure of the lore surrounding it, but it makes me wish that the world map didn't exist. I actually went back on that. I'm really glad the world map existed because the sword is actually a bit of a pain to get to sort of navigate. It points in the direction, but then when the further out colossi, you have to sort of maneuver around mountains and shit. I really liked the world map in the end.
it's as the crow flies, not where you should go next.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. Okay, first boss down. I died once as I struggled to figure out what to do. I thought I had to stagger with the calf and then climb up to the head. Turns out that's exactly what you have to do. I just wasn't dealing damage for some reason. I think it was bugged. Climbing is fiddly to begin with, but I think I'll get the hang of it. Boss went down pretty easy on the second attempt. Excited to see more innovative boss designs. Page 2. Colossi number 2 down. No deaths this time. It's crazy how many Breath of the Wild vibes I'm getting from this. Bosses are more like puzzles than battles of damage. I'm very impressed with the scale. No idea how they achieved this in the PS2 era. I can see where the morality story is coming from. I feel like more of a hunter than a good-willed protagonist. The Colossi are yet to attack me directly. I'm the one instigating the violence. The heroic soundtrack is totally at odds with my actions. The knight appears to be the first one to actually fight back. I regrettably had to look up a guide for this one. That's the one where he has to like sort of smack down on like the plate and then and then it breaks his arm. Apparently you can do it without doing that. There's an achievement. I had a quick look through them.
His arm does come down long enough that you can grab onto his sword and then run down it.
That's what I was trying to do, but yeah, whatever. We're up to wasn't a fan of only one attack being useful, as baiting it out of him was frequently proving to be unreliable. Fight was good once the puzzle was figured out. I'm enjoying the pace. I count 16 Colossi statues in the main hub. If this is the entire gameplay loop, I'll be very satisfied for the next 7 hours. Turns out that's exactly what it was. Fuck the horse. He handles like a reliant Robin with a flat tire. And I stand by that. I fucking hated it. Agra! Fuck you! Okay, understood Colossi 4 much more quickly once I got the tip from the gods. Not totally sure how it worked, but it did. I can't remember which one this is. Love the design of it.
This is where you hide underground.
Yes, that's the one.
You hide underground, and then it pokes its head in, and then you just you go up its arse.
Yeah, that's the one. Visually reminded me of the blue reptile alien from Attack of the Clones. Yeah, I know which one the horsey one now. Starting to see why this became so much of a cultural touchstone for games. I'm reminded constantly of Zelda, Skyrim, Uncharted, Witcher, and then I have to remember that this came out in 2005. Genuinely incredible.
Also, I'll point out, this game, if this game was released now, it would be probably, if it was released now, and I'll note, with good controls, it would be a game that people really liked, but that's all it would be. The fact this is a game that Nerd Cubed was talking about, how when he'd been playing his games all his life, but Shadow of the Colossus was the first game he ever was like, no, games can be serious. Like games can be a sort of creative, like a really creative touchstone. And this game released with quite a bit of fanfare, but it was the fact that it was nothing like any game that had come before it. This wasn't like Lara Croft or something. It was unique setting, unique gameplay loop, unique graphics. Like, this was just a different breed.
Yeah, and you're skipping ahead. You basically just summed up what I think. Like, to me, this is a good game, but it's not the groundbreaking thing that it would have been if I played it in 2005. I'll keep going through the notes, but yeah, that's essentially how I feel about it. The fifth Colossi, the winged one, is badass. Oh, that was like the pterodactyl one. Genuinely exhilarating to take down. Yeah, love that one. 6 was Death by Beard, kind of samey to the first Colossi, but mounting process differed, so fair enough. 7th was Lightning Sea Serpent, good fun to take down. I liked the lightning as an additional threat. Took a little longer to die though. I was doing it for about 20 minutes, I thought. The 8th was the Poison Salamander. I love the use of environment and the bow. That was super refreshing. 9th was the Geyser Turtle, one of the weaker ones. It's only got one crit spot. So
that's the one with the fucking laser mouth, isn't it?
Yeah, you had to sort of get... That was the first one that you had to get on the horse for as well.
That's the first one in the desert, if I remember rightly.
Yes. Well, you have to go through the desert to get to the geyser field, so yeah. 10th was the Sand Snake. That was a cool mechanic brought down by shoddy horse controls. 11 was the Bull for Bullshit. That was the worst one, and it annoyed me that that was repeated as well. It's got a crazy small dodge window. It's likely to insta-stagger you due to ridiculously long ragdoll animations. I think I died once doing it, and then I finally got it on the second time. But I fucking hated that one. Occasionally buggy boss health bars, stagger animations, especially when swimming. There's no load function, so I constantly had to I had to quit and relog once, and then make the same journey over and over again, which got really annoying. It turns out actually in the end that it was kind of my own fault because I wasn't praying at the altar things that sort of
the shrines.
Yeah, I wasn't praying at those. That's kind of my own fault. 12 was the Water Minotaur. Great spectacle. It was good fun to take down once I figured out how to bait its animations. 13, Flying Sand Snake, possibly the best yet. Super cool visuals, epic method to take down. Yeah. I mean, again, horse controls, but I mean, the method, it was all right. I mean, there's so much space to run around in that desert that the horse controls didn't bother me all that much. I love that one. 14, Points off a repeated boss. That was the second bull, but it was actually a lot more fun, sort of leaping across the falling pillars. Felt very Uncharted. At least there was the possibility to stagger, so it was a lot easier to take down this time. I quite like that one. 15, great spectacle but annoying stagger on animations. Viking Gorilla. Oh yeah, I didn't really like this one either. It was super annoying. I didn't go for the collectibles to sort of boost up my stamina.
This one, I've always felt this one has the most obtuse solution.
Yeah, I had to look up a couple guides for this as well. There was only a couple where I did that, but this was one of them.
The problem with this one is that the solution isn't that complicated. It's just that it looks like a boss that doesn't need a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't quite know how to say it. It's like, I want to get up there, but I feel like I'm just not seeing the right way to get up there. And you don't really think that you have to get it to hit its foot on the thing to break. That doesn't look like something that. I think that's the first time you've seen the environment interact like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it doesn't. Because it's quite an old game. It's not one of those games where you think, well, this bit of stonework here could just move upwards. No, it just looks like a bit of level design.
Yeah.
But it moves. It's a bit weird.
That was another frustration, is that although the climbing is very good, it's very particular about what you can grab onto. There was a lot of times where I wanted to do the Breath of the Wild thing, where I was like, well, there's a ridge there, I should be able to grab it, and I jump up and it would just do nothing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm obviously not meant to
Can I
go
just say
there.
that Wonder could also definitely reach that ledge that he stomps down.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the
100%.
Wait, who's Wonder?
Definitely could.
Who's Wonder?
The character.
You mean Link?
Link, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Not
Okay.
Link.
Not Link.
Not Link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was late to the pub quiz because of this boss. Because honestly, because I had 45 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do this one Colossus. It'll only take 20 minutes, then I'll set off. And then I was sat fucking doing it until 5 minutes before I was supposed to meet you. And then in the end, I just paused it and finished it when I came home pissed. So whatever, I didn't like that one. And number 16 again. Fantastic spectacle, let down by astonishingly obtuse controls and stagger animations. A genuine frustration to complete. This the final boss. Christ, it took me about, I want to say 45 minutes as well. And
how did you feel about the event just before this boss?
Event just before it? Oh,
because given your hatred of aggro, I was wondering what your reaction would be to that.
My initial thoughts was, fuck yeah, I don't have to ride that horse anymore. And then my second was, it's an animal, and I do genuinely have empathy for it, so I did feel a little bit bad. But apart from that, I was quite happy to not have to ride it anymore. And then
it's the fact that aggro is completely innocent. Aggro, even though aggro is a friend of the protagonist, aggro is innocent in what the protagonist is doing.
Yeah.
Aggro doesn't have the understanding of why the protagonist is doing what he's doing, so it just helps him along with doing it.
Yeah.
The fact that the protagonist gets aggro killed in pursuit of his goal is what is the real clincher for that for me.
Yeah.
Is there was no he didn't even. I mean, we've spoiled it already, so we'll say that aggro does survive.
He does survive, yeah.
he does survive. It's rumored that Aggro does actually die, but is brought back once Dormin is killed.
Ah, okay, right.
But it's the fact that Wanda is this character who's just going around killing these innocent creatures, and Aggro dies by his hand,
Mm.
and it's like nothing noble about that at all.
I mean,
Because normally you'd get in a story like in something like Never-Ending Story or any character where the animal dies and the protagonist has to grow as a result. It's like it dies so the protagonist can learn a lesson
mm,
or become stronger. But in this one, it dies for no reason.
yeah.
So that's kind of a really shitty thing to happen in the game.
Mm. I can now you explain it to me. I completely agree with that. It's just at the point. I also had the event spoiled for me because I wasn't sure how to get across that gap. So I kept trying to. I was convinced I could make it on foot, and you can actually you can grab it, and then it starts to fall down. So it's like, and again, I wasn't praying at that temple thing that's around the corner, so I had to make that journey to the bottom of the map about 5 times, and I was so annoyed at the game mechanically at that point that the whole story just went out the window. I was like,
Mm.
how do I fucking do this bit? And
That's unlucky when it's unfortunate when that happens in a game where you just can't really like enjoy like a moment kind of gets ruined for something that's outside of your control.
that's exactly what happened with this with the last boss. I fucking hated the last boss because I didn't have enough stamina and I'd constantly get thrown off the top of it, or I'd miss a jump and I'd have to climb up the entire boss again. And I climbed that boss a good 7 times. It was, and at that
My
point,
favorite
at that point,
thing,
I was just ruined.
my favorite thing about the last boss, and I don't know if you noticed this because you might have just been like too wanting to get
Tunnel
wanting to
visioned.
like just kill it,
Yeah.
tunnel vision, kill it so much. The best thing about the final boss is that it starts off, it sees you down there, or it can like sense your presence, and it's shooting like these fire bolts at you. It's trying to get it off you.
Hmm.
But then when you get on its hand, and it knows that you're on its hand, and it sees you,
Mm.
and it has every opportunity to just crush you or like just kill you right there.
Mm.
But its eyes go from red to blue, and it slightly tilts its hand and just looks at you,
Yeah.
and it'll do that forever until you actually do something.
Mm. Absolutely. Well, yeah.
I
That
really like that.
that's what I picked up on after the first couple bosses. I was like, I mean, if I hadn't known that it was all that the story was going to deal with morality, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it. Or even though probably should have done. But um, I noticed in the first 2 bosses, I was like, these guys aren't attacking me. I'm just mercilessly slaughtering them for my own gain. And again, as you say, like that's the whole point of the last boss, that he's not there to like, he doesn't want to hurt you really. He's completely harmless. All right. Final thoughts. I'll skip over the sort of. I won't go through the details of the ending because it's a bit high concept for me, which I think I explain here. Final thoughts. Truly exceptional how it. What does that word say? Truly exceptional how echoes. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
Echoes.
echoes of this game can be felt throughout countless modern games. For 2005, it's truly a masterpiece. I enjoyed the story and gameplay loop, even if some of the more abstract themes went over my head of the story. That's what I'm talking about, like because I got so tunnel visioned on like the technical aspects of it that annoyed me. I sort of missed quite a lot of the story beats. Sort of they didn't hit as deep as what they should have done. Love the visual and audio design. Ultimately let down by frustrating controls, which are often far too unpredictable and infuriating to use. The last couple of bosses both lasted over an hour due to controller fumbles. Won't be back for New Game Plus, but will certainly be remembered in my mind as a classic. The reason my handwriting is horrendous in this because I was sort of like scribbling on it on my
Something
bed at the time, but yeah.
I think I really, really like the ending. In terms of high conceptness, it's less that it's high concept and more that if you'd played the game previous to it, which is called Eco, so Shadow of the Colossus is a prequel to Eco, and then Wanda becomes Dormin, who's the disembodied voice without a form,
Mm.
who's been telling you to do this. I love when Wanda dies, it plays the theme of when you kill a Colossus.
Yes, yes.
That
I,
was really cool.
I
And
picked up on that.
the So sometimes I've watched a lot of playthroughs of this game, and sometimes it doesn't happen quite that well. But one of the best things is when Dorman is being sealed into the fountain, and you're playing as Wanda, and you can sort of grab onto the environment
Yeah, yeah.
and sort of fight to kind of get back to
Mm.
the girl, I forgot the name of, and that entire and you just can't win, but it feels like you can. And all that time it's playing the theme of like killing a Colossus. That's so good.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it
It,
would have.
it,
It would have.
it, do you know what it reminds me of weirdly? It reminds me of fucking Rose Tyler being sucked into the void.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's what it
understand.
reminds me
I
of.
mean, I hate to admit, but I did. It didn't play out like that for me because I knew exactly what was happening, and I turned around. I was like, oh well, I can't escape this. I'll just fucking dive into the fountain because it means this game will be over quicker, which is exactly what I did.
Well,
I feel a bit bad about
maybe that's well, no, because it's different because maybe that's not what was completely intended.
that. Mm,
Maybe your interpretation of Wanda is that he now understands what he is and willfully throws himself into the fountain,
I guess yeah, you could look at it
knowing
that
what
way.
he's become. You could look at it like that as well. You could look
Yeah,
at it a lot of different ways. I mean, as I told you with
it's a
that
very artistic
video
game, so
about,
it's like,
yeah, it's the video about all the secrets in the game is when this game, so, I mean, not
I watched
like
that
Fez,
video.
but one of the things that yeah, it's good, wasn't it?
Mm, super intriguing.
One of the things that one of the things that I love about games like that, and any game that's released now, I love a game that has a sort of surface level, but has loads of secrets that have been hidden by the devs, or maybe hidden meanings, and there might be nothing there, but
Mm,
it's just really nice to hear people's opinions on them. I mean,
mm,
that's how game theory came around, and I hate game theory, but I mean, I like that channels like that exist. It's like we've got a theory about this game and what it might potentially mean, and sometimes they are actually true. Like I don't like how game theory has reported on stuff like Undertale or Five Nights at Freddy's
mm,
or stuff like that, but there are games like that
mm,
which have really interesting lore and hidden secrets and things that you have to figure out. And I
mm.
love shit like that. Shadow of the Colossus is very much the same. Uh, so much hidden stuff in the world, so many hidden secrets. You can get a rocket launcher.
Oh, right, okay. Didn't know that.
It's not like a mod. It's not like a modern rocket launcher. It's like a fantasy one,
Yeah, yeah,
but it is one.
yeah. Mm.
Uh, you can get like you can get a white horse,
Yes, yeah, I've
and
seen that
like
one.
it's but the way figuring all this stuff out is like so obtuse and abstract, and you have no idea how anyone ever did. But
Mm.
it's because there's a community that dedicated to this game, and that's because it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
It is the cult classic. I can't think of a more cult classic video game than this one.
Mm. But yeah.
Maybe Undertale, but
Mm.
Undertale is pretty much mainstream at this point.
Yeah, I would
It's
say
like a
so.
mainstream like phenomenon.
I mean, I'd
Um,
say that Shadow of the Colossus has sort of become that as well with the remake. I feel like a lot of people will have played this now and thought, like as I have, like come to it afterwards and sort of can appreciate that of its time. It is a classic. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was moving on a little bit. I was going to touch on whether you think that my main complaint of this game is the controls. Do you think that the game for the remaster should have had its controls touched, or would that have been a desecration of its its classic
I
nature?
well, 100% they should have changed the controls.
Right. Okay.
And I'm very very sure of that. I mean, we're in a sort of era of remakes and uh people who've played the previous versions of a game. I think there was a sort of thing where like don't change the game too much,
Mm.
but to me it's like if you don't want the game to change that much, the original's there.
Yeah. That's yeah. Exactly.
Like the original's there for you to play. Um, it would have maybe been nice if there was like, I don't expect. By the way, I don't expect the dev to do this because there's a lot of extra work and it's unnecessary. It
Mm.
would have been nice if there was an alternative control method.
Yes.
Maybe if it was like
Yeah.
a classic and then modern.
Yeah. I don't like that. Yeah.
So if people wanted the kind of original experience,
Hmm.
but Crash, um, the original Crash on PS1 came out in 1997
Hmm.
or six. I don't remember which one. And they've remade that completely from the ground up to be really pretty, and the controls are completely different and they're really smooth.
Right. Well,
And
yeah.
that game got so much love.
Same for, I imagine, Spyro as well.
Oh yeah, Spyro's exactly the same as well.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
It's why
in my eyes, like the
it's one of those things where I see where you're coming from, and it's like one of my favorite games ever, and probably still my favorite Sonic game is Sonic Heroes,
mm,
and I love it, but I wouldn't expect anyone to play that and say that the controls are good, because I
yeah,
love it and the controls suck dick.
yeah.
Like
I know what
they're
you mean.
so bad.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, if I was to give my final thought, it's like, what was it? What was it you said when I was started reading through the Colossi? It's a classic, but like again, like you, what's so fantastic about it is that as I said, as I was going through it, I was getting like vibes of because when I played Breath, I feel like the effect that this game had on people of 2005 is what I got when I first started playing Breath of the Wild, and that's why I thought Breath of the Wild was so fantastic because it was genuinely innovating. But now I've played this and I'm like, shit, what Breath of the Wild did wasn't new. It perfected it, but it wasn't new. Um, and yeah, because I'd already had that sort of feeling of like wonder that Breath of the Wild gave me. I felt like I didn't get that sense of like
I
of
would
Shadow of the
I
Wild
would
is the
love
innovation.
if Shadow of the Colossus had like even if Shadow of the Colossus had Breath of the Wild climbing,
Mm. Yeah,
that
that'd
would
be
be really cool.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah, I think that'd work a lot better. That like that
But
sort of
yeah, I
tight
think
controls that the Breath of the Wild has would be much far better.
it's definitely a cultural like touchstone, and it's something that even it's one of those games that you almost don't even have to play because
Mm.
its impact can be felt outside of the game itself.
Exactly, exactly. And but I highly recommend that I recommend sticking with the controls because as much as I've whinged about them, I do think that it's worth sticking
They're
through. Just
not awful.
they're not awful.
They're fine.
I played it in a 2 day period, which is why I was annoyed at them. Because, but to be fair, every time I took a break and came back to it, I wasn't annoyed at it. It was when I was playing for like 5 6 hours in a row that's when it started to get to me. So if I play it, but just don't force yourself to like I did.